Welcome to the slightly informal video showing off the first big showcase of the new macro creator. So the new macro creator is releasing in just about a week. I'm going to be putting out a live stream that day and actually releasing it out to the world. But then that Friday, we'll be actually comparing regular macro creation versus making a macro with this new tool. But until then, let me show off what you can actually do with this. So let me change my screens over here and let's start with the basics. To open it, you can come up to Workspace, or I guess to install, you should have an install method that you should be able to use. When you buy the full version, you should have a link that you're able to install with. And then it should appear most likely somewhere near the bottom. If this is your only Fusion Pixel Studios folder, then that's great. If you have another product of mine, whether that be Anim Utility or maybe something else I might make in the future, then you may have two Fusion Pixel Studio folders just because of the placement of where the folders go. Also, I just noticed that this one is spelled differently, so that may also be something different that I may change to make it actually work correctly. So we'll see if that's also a problem. But you can run it just right here. It loads in your tools, and you have a screen just like this. You're able to drag off this side over to the right some more so you can have more controls, and we would just want to start adding controls from our tools over here on the left. But we also have to consider how do we want our macro to look. So we want our macro to have different pages and different labels for different things. So let's come up to the top, and I want to add a tab. This is going to make a tab in the first slot, and this is going to replace the controls tab. You're not going to have a controls tab on this node anymore since this is in the first slot. If you want to keep it, then just make another tab at another spot in the node, and the controls tab will still exist. You can always call it back if you always make another one, just call it controls. That will recreate the controls page, but obviously it's going to be slightly different because it's going to be whatever you just customized it with. Because you can also change the icon. So let me go ahead and change this to be whatever we want to call it. Let's go ahead and make this just text, just to make it so super easy, because this is technically a title. But this specific comp is designed to showcase a bunch of different things you can do with the macro creator. We have two different text elements. We have a media in and not selected with our selected nodes. We have two loaders, and we have particles, and we have a controls node. All this is broken down in the tutorials, and I'm not going to break down every single thing you have to do to make this work, but this is just a showcase of what you can do. But if we just add text, because we're going to add our text to this first, let's go ahead and remove the settings tab as well. We don't want the settings tab at all to exist. And we'll just add a tooltip and call it main text. Well, let's not do that. We'll add an icon, and maybe I got to click it again. There we go. We can select one from this list, and I'll just choose this one right here. If we hover over it, it actually tells us what the icon name is, and we can see its text. You don't really see an update here, but when you add it, it does store it, so just keep that in mind. Now, if we come back up here, we can also add a label. So let's add a label for text 1. Now, this is going to be a current bug with this. In this current build, I'm actually going to be fixing this bug later on today. But right now, groups are broken, so the two texts are going to be slightly broken when I export this. But it won't be when it's actually released. This is just a showcase to showing that you can do all these complex things. So we can just say text 1, and we're going to make it a nest, and we're going to hide, let's say just 5 for now. We're going to add this, and there we go. We have our label. If we go ahead and go down into text 1 to start adding stuff, we can search for text. And this is going to bring us down to the text page. It's highlighted the actual page. This is then a label. We can start at style text. This is our text box. Go down to line spacing. We can add all those, and we can actually see it's visually displaying what is inside of this nest. But real quick, let's go ahead and add the things we need to add. I'm just going to go ahead and find strike through, underline, and right on and right off. You can also add a center if you want to. I'm not going to because I want to avoid moving things up and down because it's also currently not working correctly. But once again, this will all be fixed when you guys actually have it. These are all just minor things that I've been putting off. But we can go ahead and update this to be the correct amount that we need. So we can see we have 5 in here, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we need to have 14, and bam. Now those are all hidden. We can even collapse this now, and we can go up here, add. We can add another label for text 2. And we can also bold these, add different stylizings to these. We can center this in the screen. We can remove that if we wanted to. We can change it to be a header. We can change it to back to being a paragraph. We can do quite a lot with this, but we're just going to leave it without any bolding, and I guess paragraphs are fine, but let's go ahead and remove those because those aren't really needed. Those aren't needed for a basic title. Let's go up here to nest, and we're going to go ahead and make this hiding 5 again. I know it's probably going to be 14. In fact, we can just go ahead and make it 14 for simplicity. We can go and add that. Now we can see it has not added it to the other one, so that's perfect. Let's go ahead and find our text 2, which may be down here. There we go. And we have to type this back in again, but if we just replace one of the letters, it should work. Select our same sections, and we're going to see all of these are going to just add straight away to the group, and then we don't have to worry about doing that later. And there we go. Now if we add our new tab, because we want to change things up to be a different tab now. I call these pages, but they're also generally called tabs a lot of times. We can go ahead and make one for, let's just say, the effects, because we have an X glow, which is a fuse, and we also have camera shake. So let's go ahead and make these. So we can just say X glow. Oh, let's not do weird stuff like that. And cam shake, and that's going to be on our tooltip. We can go ahead and make this something special. What represents a effect? Maybe hotspot. That could be cool. The user one, the custom one, could be good too, but I want to stay away from using those personally. I always feel like that those look kind of cheap. Maybe this one, this could be an interesting look for an effect. Or maybe this one. I might actually go with saturation here. This one looks like a decent one. It kind of shows like you're applying an effect to something. That's what it kind of looks like to me. Let's go ahead and add that now. And let's go ahead and choose X glow first. Let's go ahead and actually make a label for this. So we're going to go ahead and do X glow. Add a nest. We're going to go ahead and choose 5. This is my good default to use. And we're going to do that. X glow. Scroll down a little bit. We're going to get to the main page. I'm going to go down from threshold down to fall off. That seems good. And we're going to add the next probably 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. So we're going to make this 10. And there we go. And now we want to add another label for our camera shakes. We're just going to do shake. We won't add the camera just because it's not super needed for the user. And we'll say 5 again, good default. And we will just come up here to camera shake, scroll down some. I'm going to do it after, I don't know, I guess I'll do all of this. So X deviation, and let's go down to edges. Yeah, there we go. And let's go again. I think that's up to 10. So upgrade this to 10. There we go. And let's go ahead and collapse these so we have some more space. And I think that looks pretty good. We could obviously add some more here. I'm even going to add maybe an image just so I can show it off to you. If we go and select image, I'm going to scroll down and I'm just going to choose a small Jake Whip templates icon. And I'm just going to call it Whip Templates. Making a name for this is important. You want to add a name because this is actually going to be what it's displaying inside of the code. It doesn't like having the long string that it does to make the actual image appear because that usually breaks internally stuff. So make sure you put a name here to actually give it something that it's not just a long string of text. And I'm going to click and make a header item. If we move our windows over a little bit here, and if we look over here, we can see this is in line with the controls, and this is what it is by default without this checked. This is where the image is going to appear. Like it's going to appear just like a text box here. But if you make it a header image, it's going to appear up here above these two tabs. If you look at a media in node, it has things up in here. It has clip name and global in and out. We're going to do the exact same thing that they're doing with this, but for our image. So we're going to go and select controls again so we can make sure that the image goes onto there. And we're just going to select make header image. Oh, there may be a small issue. I haven't used this in a minute. It looks like invalid argument. That is because I need to change how it is handling these. I'm going to replace this with my C drive. Give me a quick second here. I'm sorry. I don't know if I'm actually going to cut this just because of laziness and time constraints. I'm a little busy with a bunch of stuff. But I'm going to go ahead and just take the path of my downloads folder. Okay, that's not it. Let me just copy a link to something else. Copy as path. I don't know how I missed that. Okay, we can paste that in there, remove this ending. Go back to the front, remove that, and now if we add this, now it'll add it. There's just a bug with how that's handling the path. I need to fix that, but don't worry about it. Now that's going to add an image up to the very top of our macro. Let's go ahead and give our macro a name, so we'll just call it testy because it's fun. And we're going to go ahead and choose save macro to clipboard. This is just really quick for testing, just to show you guys, hey, it makes a macro, woohoo. And then I'll show you guys some other stuff here in a second. So save clip to macro, it's going to give us a little pop-up, save to macro. We can minimize this to get it out of our way, but we can still access it here in a little bit. Let's go into here. I'm going to remove a node that's sitting in here that I was using to test with earlier. And if we go ahead and just paste, we can see we have our macro. Now, there may be an issue, it looks like there possibly is, with a handful of things. And I have a feeling that it's because everything was collapsed. So let's maybe go uncollapse things and try this once again. There also could be an underlying bug that I just didn't know existed until now. But let's go ahead and uncollapse everything to see if this is going to fix it. So let's go ahead and come up here and save copy. It's going to go through everything, update everything, save to clipboard. Now let's go test this on our new comp. This, I'm trying out things I didn't know would happen. If we paste it now, we can see we have our input, output, we have all of our controls. Now, our groups, like I mentioned before, are broken. I'm fixing this, don't worry. But we can see everything's in here. We have our icons. Okay, so there looks like there's a problem with adding images. It thinks that they are pages. I haven't tested out images in a minute, so I need to fix that. But this will be that instead. But we can see that it thinks that it's just this tab. So that's clearly something that's not working right. But if we look here, we can see that it is hovering, saying the correct stuff, and it has our icons. Pretty cool. This is meant to be up here in the top as an actual image. That's fine, but let's go ahead and check out some other stuff really quick. If we go back into our comp that we were using before, let's select our main node again. If we come up here into edit, we can actually edit expressions on nodes and the controls in our selection. So we wait for this to load. It can take a minute because it's loading in everything. For expressions, it loads in every single control. Let's even bring this up bigger. We can see every single node has every single control visible, and all of the controls that you have available in your macro preview to the right appear in here. Now, we can also show only expressions, and this is going to reload the window, and it's only going to show the stuff that has expressions already on it. So nothing in the macro controls, but if we look, we can see we have all these expressions on all these controls. So you can just find the ones that have expressions and quickly edit those. We can make this a little smaller now, and we can also do this with button code. So buttons in macros allow you to execute Lua code, which allows you to look at it and change what is actually running from the script. And you can just press update control and it will update whatever you have done. And you can switch between them, and it's really cool. And you can do the same thing with text as well. These all just have the same pop-up window because it makes the most sense to display it this way. But button code in this will only display controls that have the ability to have text and button code. So this is only going to show the actual text boxes, and you can see styled text is right here. And this is what you would edit to actually change the text in your comp. And if you look, if we move some windows out of the way and change this text, we see yay right here. But if we just remove it, just like that, and update control, we'll see yay has disappeared. So there we go. This is working right. And also we can see up here in styled text, the yay has gone away. But if we add it to styled text from the macro controls, it will also update it to say yay. And it will update the preview to also tell us that it says yay. So there we go. And this is another text from text 2, which we can also change, but I don't think it's actually visible because my image here is blocking it. But there you go. That is a good rundown of everything you can do. You can obviously add more controls with this control editor, which is broken down in a tutorial. I'm also going to be making a whole video going over it. That's going to be part of that little tutorial block. And you can access tutorials and a bunch of other things right here really easily. And you can also access my YouTube, my Discord, and you can also shrink the window to bring it out of your way if you want to mess with stuff in the comp. And then once you want to bring it back open, you can then just refresh this, and it will bring in anything new that you maybe have connected to a media in that's not in your comp, or that's not in the selected nodes, or any new nodes connected out to media out. That's what these are auto-selecting. You can obviously then bulk add controls, which we showed off. I really need to clear this whenever this gets cleared. Sorry, that's just a thought I have in the back of my head. But everything seems to be looking pretty good. There's a couple of things, like I said, that need fixed, that I just need to have fixed before it's done. Just stuff I want to be putting off just because I don't want to be working on it. We can export our macros as a macro itself. By default, it exports as a regular macro. You can export it as a group like this. You can export a README file to explain what to do with this macro file. You can export it as a DRFX file for a fusion effect for either searchable, an effect panel, or both. You can make it an edit page effect, make it one of these types. You can make a company author name. You can put in another folder for like whatever macro package it is. You can choose a thumbnail for it with this thumbnail searcher, just like this. You're able to save all these options as default. You can change the names of these. So if this is like an effect mask and you want it to be blue, you can just say effect mask, and this will actually change it to be blue. You can make this say media in, just so it's organized for you. You can even make this to say like media in 1, or you could keep it saying whatever nodes and controls they came from, just so it's super easy for you to understand. And then when you're done, you can just export this. It will reload everything, create the macro, and then it'll allow you to choose whatever folder you want. I'm just going to throw it into there and save as, and it's just going to put those folders into where they're supposed to go. So I exported it as a transition with no other folders. So if we go to where that is on our desktop now, I'm just going to pull it up here, and we open it up, we can see it gave us a README file because I asked for it to, and it's telling us to zip up the file. And this file right here is the one we're talking about. So if we go into here, we have transitions and we have our product files. Because we didn't choose a company author name or we didn't choose a product name, we go straight from edit to transitions into here. Otherwise, it would go edit, transitions to here, and then to here. Super easy. And here we can see this is our thumbnail we chose because this is our Discord icon. This is a loader node that we had exported right here. And this is our macro, which is going to give us exactly what it gave us before. So if we bring it out to here real quick, we close this, minimize this again for testing, come into here and remove this. If we bring in this from off screen now, we're going to see it looks exactly the same because this is exactly what we just exported before as a thing on our copied. But now it actually has a blue input because we made the input's name effect mask. Okay, this has been really fast. This has been all over the place, but I think that covers all the big, huge information. There's a lot of stuff you can do with this, and it's growing every time I think of new stuff. But I think it's pretty close to being done, ready to release. Next week is the actual official release, and the actual release date is going to be the 21st of August of 2024. So if you are watching this in the future somehow, or if you're seeing this right after I'm posting it, like in the week that it's about to release, just know it's coming very soon, and I'm super excited about it, and it is going to be game changing. All right. I'll see you guys next week for the release stream. See ya. Also, check out this Friday's video for a little fun video talking about macros and scripting. Okay, bye. Have a good day.